Oh my god, my head always gets cut off. I'm never far enough away from the camera. There we go. So hello everybody and welcome to my hotel room. So we are in Providence, Rhode Island, and I am here for work. And it's like the perfect fall peak weather. And I kind of wanted to take you around because I think this work trip is going to be really fun. I'm not going to give you any details because a lot of the work I do is proprietary so I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm doing. I'm just here and I'm eating in a lot of restaurants as part of my job. So that's kind of like super fun. I've never done this before. Usually I stay in my lab. I love my lab. I love staying in my lab. I'm not like very much, I know it sounds super dorky. I don't super love traveling for work. I know that's why a lot of people, one of their favorite things about their job. For me, it's kind of super inconvenient in my life because I'm very used to my routine. But I kind of like decided to go on this one because I think it's important for my career, and also it's good for me to get out of my environment sometimes. So the reason we're here is just we're going to try a bunch of restaurants to get inspired for just new product development, which is what I do. I do new product development for food brands. So a lot of the time we have to go and eat and see what the restaurants are doing to kind of like be able to replicate it for the masses later on. And yeah, if you're interested in the food science degree, comment it down below and I'll give you all the information you need. I do think it's an amazing career path. If you're creative but kind of want a little bit more of a corporate job, but it still has a lot of job security, which is I love about my job, that I feel like there's constantly need for me in other spaces, not only at my job, but if I had to get like laid off or something, there's need for people like me in other spaces. So yeah. That is fun. And apart from that, I have been reading because I was on a flight all day yesterday. So I'm going to tell you what I read. I have it on my Kindle, so I don't have it on physically because usually when I travel, I just travel with my Kindle. It makes things so much easier. So I just forgot the name of the book. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I finished Her Rabbit Beast, which are the second book in her Feral Beast series. This book is by E.B. Bally. So this is a Omegaverse reverse harem romance set in. So this is about a girl named Aurelia, and she, in her day that she turns 13, when you're kind of discover what beast you're gonna shift on, she discovered that she can shift into multiple beasts, and that she's gonna have 5 mates, all from different orders, and all of them gonna be extremely dangerous men. And because of this, she's a very prized commodity, and her father kind of like locks her away and tries to like get people to bid on her for her to go and breed with other people, and she really does not like this. And we start the first book when she's already running away from being captured, and her mates are chasing her because her mates don't want her to be like their Regina, which is like their queen basically, because that means she's gonna have a lot of power over them, and they're very dangerous men, so they don't want anybody to have power over them, and because of that they're gonna kill her, which is extremely extreme. So you start with a very much like hate to love relationship, and slowly but surely, since she has like 5 partners, they start like falling one by one for her. So that's really fun if you really enjoy like the first couple like chapters of a romance book where they start falling for each other. This is like that in steroids because you basically have like 5 people, so you kind of like see them all fall really slowly for her, and that is just so much fun. I love this book. I thought it was like incredibly fun, and the second one is even better. I think it just built on a lot of like the romance and the tension, and the scenes were incredible. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend it if you just want like a fun smutty romance. If you don't like Omegaverse or shifter romances, don't come for me. I told you about it. This is definitely something that not a lot of people like, and I understand that and I respect that. So if you don't like that, don't read it. And yeah, so that's everything I'm gonna read. So now I kind of want to pick the Grady Hendrix book that I wanted to read for the Bookoplathon. So I'm gonna put the storefront or something it's called, and yeah, I'm gonna read that tonight. But first, I'm gonna take you on my adventure. So today we're gonna have some donuts. We're gonna go to some coffee shops, and then we're gonna go into Boston to try a lot of different food. I'm gonna take it all in my camera, and hopefully I can show you some footage. Hello and welcome to my trip to Providence. So first we're starting day 1 with some donuts from PV Donuts, and my favorite here was the cereal milk and the caramel cake and the butter beer. The butter beer was absolutely incredible. So then after that, we headed into town and went to a Nitro Bar to try a couple different coffees. And here it was like covered in bikes and it was very grungy looking. My highlight was this espresso and tonic. I've never had an espresso tonic before. We also had a pistachio latte that was incredibly good. And we had a lot of other coffees. That we had another cereal milk coffee, some matcha. Then we headed into the Providence like School of Design or something to Bold Coffee, where we had a lot of different matchas. We had another espresso tonic, a matcha tonic. Then we headed to Boston. So far we've eaten a lot of caffeine, but we went to Flower where we had a couple of savory things. They had a lot of cookies. Their bread was absolutely amazing. This is a bakery by a woman that graduated from Harvard, so it's all very like technically perfect, and I absolutely enjoy that. We had a cubano and we had this cupcake that wasn't that good. Honestly, it was a little perfumey. It was some chili that was really good, some apple pies. My favorite was this apple strudel that they had, and it was like so delicious. Then we had a big long walk throughout the city. I was expecting it to be a little bit more like fall. Everything was still very green, but it was still incredibly beautiful. It's so nice to see the city. And then we went to Time Out Market. They have these everywhere. And that lobster roll, that hot lobster roll, it's gonna live in my dreams. Then we had some like just random chips. Honestly, none of that was that good. The other thing that I really liked was this like burnt ends mac and cheese, but the sauces were really, really good in that one. We had some bowls. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of bowls, but the kimchi one was really good. Everything else here was kind of like good for a food hall. Some calamari and other delicious stuff, but it was just like such big portions. I gave it like a bite and I was like, please do not make me eat more of this because I am kind of tapping out at this point. Oh, but those dumplings were really, really good. Those dumpling pancakes, and then the ones in the middle are like truffle dumplings, and then some fried chicken that I honestly didn't eat, but the truffle dumplings were absolutely amazing. We were here to try sauces, so everything that we order like every sauce on the menu, so I think that was really cool. Then we went to the Cheers bar. I am not very much of the Cheers generation, but it's still very cool to see like the bar. Everybody I was with was super excited to go. Then we ended at the Union Bar, which is one of those oyster houses that has been there forever. I checked out some lobsters. Then we had some clams, some mussels, and then the Big Daddy lobster. That's the first time I've ever had lobster before. Spoiler alert, it went absolutely everywhere and it was very embarrassing. And we ended the night with some cannoli. We went to this local, very, very old cannoli and like Italian pastry. Hello everybody and welcome to my video update. So we are still in my hotel room. I bet past Amanda, or future Amanda actually, is doing an amazing voiceover during all the little intermissions that we're having between my days, because I am not about to talk to a camera in public next to my coworkers. I rather die. So that's why we are not having like any conversations while I'm out, because I'm always around my coworkers. So I'm gonna kind of keep you updated about what I'm reading when I'm here, because I actually did read quite a bit because there's a little downtime, but also we had to take train rides that were a little long so I could listen to my audiobook. Not train rides, Ubers. We were gonna take the train into Boston, but we ended up taking an Uber twice, which I don't know, not my circus, not my monkeys. So that's what we're gonna do. And first of all, I'm gonna tell you that I have read, I don't know, 50% of Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. It's been really good. So this one is a book about a girl who's kind of like down on her luck. She's working at this store that's very much based on IKEA, and the store is kind of like, she doesn't like it, but she's also just depressed with her life, and she's very whiny. Oh my god, she's one of those people like, yeah, I understand your life is kind of sucky, but we don't have to be this whiny. And a lot of her coworkers hate her because she's like, okay, like, I realize you don't like this job, but you don't have to make our lives miserable as well. So that's kind of like the vibe of the book coming in. And then her boss asks her to stay overnight with another one of her coworkers in order to see what's going on in the store and see if there's somebody coming in, because there's all this stuff like missing and things are dirty the next day, so nobody really knows what's going on. And she decides to say yes because she needs the extra money. Otherwise, she's gonna get evicted and then stay overnight at the store. And then like things start getting spooky. Right now, we're still like, is it paranormal or is it like a person kind of situation? We really don't know. There's been like rats. There's been like people that were not supposed to be in the store that also stayed behind in the store. And they've been like, they think they saw something, but they don't know what. So they're gonna go to the attic, which is a terrible idea. Always a terrible idea. So yeah, that's all that's been going on. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I'll take you on my day today. So we have to hit a couple more coffee shops, a couple more burger places, and hit a Sunlight Ferry tour in the afternoon. That's gonna be really cool. And yeah, one of those things, like, I know that I am a professional eater, and that's a very good privilege. I feel like a lot of people love to go to random cities and just eat all day. It is. My stomach hates me right now. Like, it is really hard on my stomach, especially because, like, you don't want to be the person that's, like, picky about things, but, oh my god, it's a lot of, like, different mixtures of different foods and different cuisines that it's, like, giving me a stomach ache. So I think I could only do it for one more day, so I'm glad that this is the last day that we're doing it. I actually slept very well last night. I'm very happy about that. And yeah, also very socially draining, and especially because like I'm the newbie in this group. Everybody else knew each other already, and I'm like the new person, so they have a lot of questions for me, and I'm carrying a lot of the conversations, and I'm like, this is a lot. So yeah, I'm getting good at it though. I feel like from college, in college I was pretty social. From like high school, college, I kind of like learned a lot about how to do this, and that's kind of like what's helping me right now. So yeah. I'll see you tomorrow in person, and I'll give you some B-roll in between. Bye! Okay, so now we're at day 2. So first we stopped by White Electric, which was a coffee shop, and we had a lot of like hibiscus spritz and a lot of like tonic spritz. That one was called like the Electric Lady. And I stopped by this gift shop that was next door, and it had this really cute like cold bookstore magnet. So I snatched that as a little like present for myself. And then we went to the wildest restaurant I've ever went to. It's called Julian's. The interior is just like very weird. This was the bathroom. Had like action figures and like a bunch of pest dispensers, and then like a TV playing some weird things in the bathroom. It was the wildest bathroom. And then we had this, which was actually really good, like a chai apple cider and a big burger. The burger was fine, but it's kind of like the classic. We had this chicken. The whole thing is like different types of hollandaise, especially for brunch, because this was early in the morning. And then we went to one of my favorites. So this was called the malted barley, where we tried like every single pretzel that they had. So my favorite was like that cheesy one with the mustard. It was delicious. And their thing is that they do bagels, and they do burgers with bagels in it. Then we headed to Newport, where we sailed for a sunset sailing trip, and they had like this big sailboats. I was a little seasick, but I kind of like endured it very well. It was incredibly beautiful. I've never been like out to sea in this type of conditions. I was absolutely freaking freezing my little butt off. And then we ended at the Black Pearl Annex. This one's another one of those like classic restaurants, has been there forever, but it was very beautiful on the inside. We ate in the kind of like the annex area, and I had more lobster because I cannot stop myself. There was some shrimp and grits, some smoked clams. Those were really good. And then I had some lobster chowder that honestly was not as good as the whole lobster I had yesterday, but it is kind of known that if you get that, you're not gonna get the best parts of the lobster. Yeah, that was it. Hello everybody, and welcome to the end of this reading vlog. So I kind of wanted to wrap up and tell you what I read. I am back home. You can see my little background has changed to be my bed again. And I had so much fun in Providence, but I did have to take a couple days to recover because that was a lot of food and a lot of socializing. But I think I did very well. Everybody was very complimentary about my socialization skills, so I'm very happy. And while I was there, I managed to finish one book, and then I finished one book on the plane. So the first book that I finished was Horror Store. So a little caveat that I didn't mention before. So I was reading this book on audio, and I found the audio in Spanish. A lot of the time, that's a good way to find audiobooks for free, because then they'll have it in a different language in the library, and the hold will be a lot shorter. This one was in script, so they had it as an Instaborrow, but in Spanish. The only thing, it did affect my enjoyment of the book a little, just because I hadn't read a book in Spanish in a really long time, and it was Spanish Spain, which is not the Spanish that I necessarily speak to day. So it took me a little while to get into it. And if you hear it, it sounds wild. Like, traducido por Jaime Valero Martínez y narrado por Sonia Román. Boca Vivo está disponible en donde quiera que se vendan audiolibros. Muchas gracias. It's just like very fast paced, and I was like, whoa. And I kept picturing this actually happening in Spain, and then had to remind me, like, no, this is happening in the US. And you're just like thinking it happens in Spain because of the Spanish audiobook. So yeah, so that was the only thing. But apart from that, that audiobook was so freaking creepy. I didn't think it was gonna go there, and then it kept going there. Like the visual, like it went. If you're afraid of like people digging out their eyeballs and hands coming out of the wall and people pulling at your hair and being strapped into chairs and getting like buried alive, like it had like every single worst case scenario, like, and worst fear that people had. It had like arachnophobia and like fear of drowning. It had everything. It was crazy, and it went super hard. I was like, wait, what? Because I've been reading other horror books that honestly didn't terrify me at all. I read like Night of the Mannequins pretty recently, and I was like, this is not scary at all. It's like barely scary. That one really got me, and I was reading it like in the middle of the day, so I wasn't like anywhere near in a situation where I was gonna be scared about it. And then I was like, no, actually I am very scared about this. So yeah, I think that book probably a 4 out of 5 stars. The only thing is like I wish I was like physically a little bit more engaged with the book. I just felt like I was like witnessing everything from afar. I didn't feel like I was in the book. And that was my only caveat with that. But honestly, it was such a scary book. And I think like I would recommend it for a lot of different people that like horror movies. It felt like a horror movie, like in the how like it's like the acts that you're seeing and a lot of the tropes that you're following and a lot of the characters. And the ending is like perfectly ambiguous. Like you actually know what's happening, but then you come back for like a sequel kind of situation. And I love those endings. I hate when things are ambiguous and you never figure out if it's like a serial killer, aliens, monsters. No, you definitely know what's going on in here, but then you still get like some unanswered questions like at the end that kind of keep you intrigued. If Gurney Hendricks wants to do a sequel, especially because it's no longer a horror story, it's a completely different thing afterwards that kind of primes itself for even more horror, I would actually read it. Make it a short novel, because just like you don't have to rehash a lot of the old things. And yeah, I think that was incredibly fun. And then I was at the airport and I was wondering what is the most quintessential airport book. And I was looking at all the books. I have a little clip of it right here, and I was like, okay, what book is like kind of like in every single store in the airport? And I'm gonna get that one, the most common one that I see. And I got The Housemaid is Watching. Caveat, when I got this, I didn't even realize that this is the 3rd book in a series. But then I googled it and they were like, it doesn't matter if you didn't read the other ones. It's not like a continuum mystery. You're just gonna miss some like background characters. And I was like, cool, I'm cool with that. I started reading this, and this book is actually very hyped Book Talk, but people in BookTube actually hate it, because people in BookTube think that it's kind of like super played out and like kind of generic. And I thought that was gonna be the case, and I was fully prepared to make like a rant review about this book, because this is not my first Frida McFadden, which is this author, she's super popular. Not my first book. I read The Asylum by her. I think that's the name of the book. If I'm incorrect, I'm gonna put it right here. And that book was so terrible. It was written from a perspective of a woman that was supposed to be in her late 20s, and she sounded like she was 16. Like, she sounded so young, and her perspective was so annoying. This one I actually quite got. At first I was a little annoyed because it was following like the clueless husband kind of situation. Like the husband is kind of like just bumbling around, and you're like, the wife is suspicious. She thinks that her husband is cheating, and that her husband is cheating with his other neighbor's like wife, and her kids start acting weird, and then all of a sudden the neighbor's husband ends up being murdered, and her husband gets accused of it because they think it's like a jealousy thing, and then the whole mystery unravels. The problem is that like first, like this much is about like what I just told you, and this much is like the actually interesting part. So I kind of get that, but this book reads so fast, and I think I figured out why people are so annoyed about this book. This is a type of book that you could read only the dialogue and you will get all the story. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, books usually have like the woman was I was walking down the stairs and they were very, very like croaky, and I glanced into the room and I saw Martha stealing my necklace. And then the dialogue will say, "Martha, why are you in my living room stealing my necklace?" So it's kind of like nobody talks like that. If you would go into that room, you'll just say like, "What are you doing? Why are you here? What are you doing?" Like that type of thing. You wouldn't like just say whatever the paragraph said and rephrase it again, because that's not how people talk. So I guess like that's why people are like so annoyed at this book, because it's so repetitive and so like lowest common denominator. Like if you're not paying attention, you'll still get everything that happens in this book. And I guess like a lot of people that are used to like reading a lot are very annoyed at that, because it's like, why am I reading the same thing over and over again? Why are you not better at writing? But people that don't read a lot and actually are like reading and watching TV, or reading and being on their phone, or pick up and put down books a lot and like spend months without reading, kind of gravitate towards books like this that are very easily accessible. And it kind of made me think, I saw this article, and I will put it right here if I find it, about like now everything, books, TV shows are designed for you to have a second screen, meaning that like when you're watching a TV show, you're gonna be scrolling on your phone. So you have to make the TV show like incredibly simplistic so you don't miss anything while you're scrolling on your phone. So I think that's a phenomenon that we're also seeing in books. Like you're seeing books that are written very simplistically in case you were doing other things. You were listening to the audiobook and walking, you were listening to your audiobook and talking, that kind of scenario. So I think that's why people dislike this book. But again, like I actually thought it was very well crafted in the mystery side of it all. Like everything got revealed very well. I was a little shocked. I do think that it was, at one point I thought it was gonna go like super dark, because one of the things had to do with like child assault, child death. And I was like, whoa, I thought this was like a popcorn thriller. And it kind of pulled it back, but it kept it pretty like, I don't know. I feel like you should still have a trigger warning for that. If you want to have something like that, definitely a trigger warning for child assault. And yeah, I actually enjoyed this book. And I am more shocked than anybody else is. It's still at 3.5 because I don't think it's going to stick with me for all that long. But it's actually pretty good. And I recommend it. If you only want to read this one, I can recommend this one. And yeah. Those are my last books of the week. I hope you enjoyed this vlog and all my adventures. Comment a little like leaf, like a little fall leaf down below if you got to the end of this video. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye!